What's up, party people? MH Smith here. Today I'm taking my first step into the Booktube community with a very popular type of video, the monthly reading wrap-up. In today's video, I'm going to cover every book and magazine I read during January of 2019. The first book I read this year was The New Year's Party by R.L. Stine, part of his Fear Street series from about the late 80s to somewhere around the mid-90s. I enjoyed this book like I enjoyed all the other Fear Street books I've read, but unlike the others, I only gave this one a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads. And to be honest, the reason why is because of some of the plot twists. I like horror. It's one of my favorite genres, and I like horror books. I have noticed I tend to shy away from supernatural, though. I like my slashers, I like my serial killers. And, spoiler alert here, skip to the following time code if you want to miss that. It turns up involving ghosts, which could have been handled a little bit better. I'm reading along, and it's a good 5-star book. And then toward the end, you get the revelation that ghosts! And it dropped down to 3 stars because the ghost plan was stupid. And then it pulls a secondary ghost plot twist that, oh no, it's actually a ghost trying to get revenge on other ghosts. And just like that, it was shooting right back up toward that 5 stars. And then it ends really stupid and just kind of crashes at 4 stars. If you like R.L. Stine books, if you like Fear Street books, if you like supernatural books, give The New Year's Party a shot. It was just 4 out of 5 for me, though. The second book in January I read was Who Killed Mr. Chippendale? A Mystery in Poems. I'm not a poetry guy. In fact, this was my first attempt at tolerating poetry. And I'm going to be honest, I enjoyed it. It was catchy, it was different, I like mysteries, and it was interesting trying to go along with the poems and follow what was happening. And for the most part, I was able to do it. I was completely wrong on the killer, though. So wrong that I don't think it was my fault. I think it was the structure. Overall, if you like poetry, it's something to give a shot. Mel Glenn, the author, did a good job. The poems were all very followable, readable. Like I said, I wasn't very happy with the killer resolution, because, while yes, it is someone who we meet through the course of it, I don't really see how you get from this person to here. That could be just me, and that's why I ranked it 4 out of 5 stars. Book number 3 of the month, A Medicine for Melancholy by Ray Bradbury. It's a collection of Bradbury's short stories. It is my first experience with Ray Bradbury. And I gotta say, Mr. Bradbury's kind of awesome. Several of the stories had some interesting twists that I didn't see coming. I totally understand the sense of nostalgia that you always hear referenced about Bradbury. It's very clear. His stuff drips. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Steven Spielberg didn't adapt some of this in the 80s and 90s, because they accuse Spielberg of nostalgia dripping as well. Sadly, I only gave it 4 out of 5, and that's because probably the first 3 or 4 stories out of the 22 stories were just kind of meh, and another couple stories in it, as it got toward the end, were meh. So it took the whole book overall down for me, but the stuff that in here is good is really good. So I will definitely be reading more Ray Bradbury. He might make it to the Mount Rushmore of authors for me. So if you haven't picked this up yet and you like Ray Bradbury, definitely do it. If you like science fiction, give it a shot. I highly recommend it. 4 out of 5 stars. Book number 4 of the month, Batman: The Doom That Came to Gotham by Hellboy creator Mike Mignola. Batman versus H.P. Lovecraft Eldritch Horrors. 5 stars. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows in book number 5 for January. The Shadow, 1941, Hitler's astrologer. For those of you who may not know, the Shadow is a character that was created in the 1930s He ran in a series of pulp magazines for 325 stories, a radio show which ran, I believe, from 1938 to 1954. He is the genesis of Batman, and all around a really cool mystery slash superhero slash detective character with some of the best bits of fiction ever committed to paper. This is one of his early comics that came out, I believe, in the 1980s, written by Batman scribe Denny O'Neil and artist Michael Kaluta. It's an excellent book. 5 stars. When it comes to The Shadow, I'm going to give it 5 stars. I can go ahead and spoil that for any future Shadow-related property that you're going to see me talk about in these reviews. Unless it is just epically bad, it's getting 5 stars. I'm a big fan of his pulp era, mostly the ones, well, all of them really, but the bulk of them are written by Walter B. Gibson under the credited name of Maxwell Grant. They used a pen name for all the people who've written for The Shadow during the original pulp run. Walter B. Gibson wrote the most of them, I believe at 283 books between 1931 and 1949. I love The Shadow. He's great. This book is great. It's The Shadow versus Nazis. How can you not enjoy that? I mean, look at him. He's really cool. Sort of Punisher-y, but better. Mysterious and sweeping like Batman, but better. Yeah, The Shadow's awesome. You're going to see a lot of Shadow material in my future readings, because I love The Shadow dearly. If you get a chance to pick this up and find it anywhere, it's on Amazon, really cheap. I got it at a used bookstore. It's excellent. Again, vigilante detective killing Nazis. What's not to love? 5 stars. Up next is another mystery book, Home is the Sailor by Day Keene, published under Hardcase Crimes. Hardcase Crime Publishing covers a bunch of older pulp stories, old out-of-print mysteries, and modern mystery books written in an older style. I have a small collection of these. Well, maybe not that small, but that's a topic for another day. I enjoy these. I like older pulpy literature. It's something I enjoy. And this happened to be a really good one. It's a 5 stars, I can go ahead and tell you that now. I believe it was really published in 1952, I think is what the year was. Yes, 52. It's just as crackling today as it was then. It's good stuff. Good stuff. If you like mysteries, definitely a book to read. If you collect hard case crime books, it's definitely one you gotta get. The reviews I read on it weren't very positive. I don't know what they're complaining about. It's older pulp fiction. 5 stars. Book number 7 is another Shadow book. The Golden Master, which is the introduction of the Shadow's arch-nemesis, Shawan Khan, who you may or may not remember is the villain from the 1994 Alec Baldwin movie. I did not physically read this big physical copy because this is a culmination of, I believe, 3 of the Shawan Khan stories. He's in 4, I think. I listened to an audiobook radio dramatization, which was basically had a narrator reading the prose and then the dialogue performed with full sound effects. Great thing. I'll link the playlist in the description because it's great. This was probably the most exciting Shadow story I've read, and they're all pretty action-packed, but so much happens in this book. It was great. Automatic 5 stars, and it earned it. You can't really find this particular version anymore. I got this off a used book site. Great story, great action. The Shadow, it continues to be awesome. I'm excited to read the following 3 Shawan Khan stories because no one really escapes the Shadow. At least if they do, they don't for long. The Shadow in the Golden Master. 5 stars. Last but not least is a magazine. The Alfred Hitchcock Mystery Magazine. The dating is July through August 2017. I like Alfred Hitchcock. I like mystery short stories. And when he was still alive, he had a magazine that published short mystery stories, mystery and suspense stories. It still publishes today. So I started collecting these. and I'm slowly reading them because there's a lot of them. It's very good stuff. It's got a lot of different variety of mystery stories and suspense stories in it. Some of the stories are better than others, but that's your problem you're going to run into with every collection of stories. Overall, I give it a 4 out of 5. The stories got much better as they went on, but there were a couple clunkers at the beginning that just didn't work. But overall, I was very impressed, and I'm excited to read the rest of the collection I have. Thank you for watching my January video. There will be a February video, and probably one for the rest of the year.